Hi guys and gals, we are looking at lesson 6 and this is in module 2, and in our practice book we are looking at the classwork on starts on page 63, and this starts out with again, this is a continuation of lesson 6. This just says more division stories. So we're again going to be creating our own word problems, which for me sometimes is challenging. And then we're also choosing a partitive division problem, drawing a model, finding an answer, choosing a unit, and setting up a situation. That seems like quite a bit. But the partitive division means that the divisor tells the number of groups or parts, and the quotient names the size of each group or the part. And so we'll go over that a little bit. So when we're thinking 24 divided by 6 using the partitive, so let me just write that at the top. When we're thinking about 24 divided by 6 using partitive division, I can think that 24 is 6 groups. 24 is 6 groups of what size? Like how many? 24 is 6 groups of 4. So the quotient or the answer to a division problem is 4. Okay, and that tells me the size of each group. There are 6 groups of 4 in 24. And so we're continuing that partitive division. So right now we're looking at 50 divided into 2/3 using that partitive interpretation. So we are looking at 2/3 to be the number of groups. And so we're saying, well, 50 is 2/3 of what size? Is what we're asking ourselves. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to draw a model. How many units do we draw? How do we know? Well, I'm going to draw the fraction. Actually tells me that denominator. The 3 tells me what I'm going to draw. Okay, I want 3. The denominator tells me how many groups to draw in my tape diagram. And then I am going to represent, so the 50 says 50 is 2 of those 3 groups. So that equals 50 right there. 50 is 2/3 of the whole. The whole thing would be 3/3. So if I have 50 and I know I have 2 of these blocks here, I know each one of these is valued at 25. But the question is, okay, what's the whole thing? We don't know yet. So the partitive interpretation that you just drew is 50 divided by 2/3 means 50 is 2/3 of some number. Some number is that question mark. And by looking at that tape diagram, we see that those 2 units that we just filled in are valued at 50 total, but each is 25. So we can divide by 2. We find the value of 1 unit. I'm going to just write 1 unit equals 25. And so in order to find the value of 3 units, so 3 units equals, so we multiplied by 3, I'm going to do the same thing over here, and I get 75. And I know visually you can see that. So let's take a look. It says find the answer on that. So 2 units, let me just write that down right below. 2 units equals 50. Right? Because we drew that out. 1 unit, we said, was 50 divided by 2, which is 25. And then we've got the 3 units. We just did that work right above. The 3 units equals 3 times 25, and that's 75. Okay. And then it says choose a unit. So we could choose, let's see, 50 is 2/3 of what size? 50 is 2/3. We could choose dollars amount if we wanted. We could choose, let's just say dollars for this right here. We're looking for some kind of situation or story problem where 2/3 of some dollar amount, 2/3 of some dollar amount is equivalent to $50 in our story problem. And the story problem, I mean, we could say Joe spent $50. Joe spent that $50 on a calculator. That seems like a lot for a calculator, but on a calculator, this was 2/3 of his money, meaning he has more, but so how much did he start with? How much money did he start with? That's our question. That's our unit, and then that's our story that goes with it. Let's go. I'm looking at, let's see, maybe it's, okay, so the next page, and we're looking at, let's see, right here, we've got, say, did I lose part of the page? We've got step 1, example 2. I think I just, the situation, so this is the story right here. That's what we just wrote. So exercise 1 says using that same dividend and divisor, work with a partner to create your own story problem. I mean, you could do that or do on your own. Let's go ahead and work with 2. So this says, I mean, for example, on this one, we did dollars. So you could have miles. You could say that, let's say, oh gosh, Abraham rode his bike 50 miles and he was 2/3 of the way. He was in a race and he was 2/3 of the way to the finish line. So how long is the race total? If we said Savvy used 50 tickets and that was 2/3 of her total to trade for something she wanted. Maybe it was a doll or something, probably not, at the fair. So how many tickets did she start with if she used 50 tickets? And that was 2/3 of what she had as a total. Sorry, I just dropped my pen. Okay, so there we've got tickets, we've got dollars, we've got miles ridden on a bicycle in a race. So example 2 says, I'm going to skip this over. Example 2, and I'll change this. We're looking at 1/2 is then divided into 3/4. Like if I took a cake, I divide it in half, then that half I divide into 3/4 pieces, and then I shared those with my friends. They would starve. So again, partitive interpretation, and you're interpreting the divisor. 3/4 to be the number of groups. So I'm asking myself, 1/2 is 3/4. 1/2 is 3/4 of what number? So we're going to draw a tape diagram. So I know when I look at that denominator, the bottom number, that tells me what to chop this up into. I'm going to chop it up into 4 pieces. Then I'm going to, it says 1/2. 1/2 is 3/4. So I'm going to take, they're telling me that this is 1/2. So we don't know what this total is. But I know 1/2 is 3/4. So I've got to go. Let me figure out, first of all, what my 1/2. I'm going to figure out mathematically what 1/2 divided by 3/4. Then I'm going to times by 2 times by 2. So I get 2/4 divided by 3/4. So really, interestingly enough, I'm gonna go 2/4 times 4/3. So that's 2/3. So we're gonna see what we really get. They said 3 units equals 1/2. And so then 1 unit I have to figure out is 1/2 divided by 3, or I could also say, remember how the lesson 5, we took that 3 and turned it into 1/3 of 1/2. And so then when I multiply that, I get 1/6. Okay. So therefore 4 units, meaning, remember these are 1, 2, 3, 4 units, equals 4 times 1/6, that 1/6 that we just got, 1/6, which equals 4/6. And you know what, that makes sense because here we had 2/3, so 4/6 is just multiply top and bottom by 2. So 4 units is equal to 4/6. 1 unit, they said, is 1/6. So 1/6, 1/6, and that makes sense. 1, 2, 3, 6 is 1/2, and then I put in another one, and I get 4/6. So all of that mathematically makes sense. Let me go to the next slide, which says, okay, they want you to find an answer. Well, that answer, we just wrote it on the other slide, was 4/6. And then they say choose a unit. Well, if we're going to choose a unit, we could do time, we could do distance. So I'm going to write time. I could also do distance. Let's see. So I'm going to write something here. After traveling for, let's say, a half hour. Let's see. Sam completed 3/4 of his trip. We could say trip or commute or whatever. So how long is the commute or the trip? I should say, let me go trip because I'm going with trip. Boom. Okay, is the trip, the total trip. Okay, so that all goes together. So it's 4/6 or 2/3. The next one, it says use the same dividend divisor with a partner, create a problem. We could say Brock completed 3/4 of his homework in a half hour. So Brock, I'm going to put homework, and it took him, he completed 3/4 of the homework in half an hour. I'm not writing the whole thing out, I'm abbreviating. Okay, so then we say how long does it, so how long to complete all the work? All the work. I'm abbreviating that. So that would be, we're looking at our sample, right? And so that's where we're still getting that 2/3. Okay, let's go to, let's see, do we have any or we're close? I think that might be it. See how there's not enough practice? Oh my gosh. Okay, so we're going to stop there. and we will then have you check your homework helper, read through those, read through the lesson, and then also do your problem set, and then you'll be ready for your exit ticket.